Now, lust is something that men and women struggle with, but we're not going to hear a sermon about it too often. Most men, especially in the church now, they've heard some kind of teaching about lust, in that men's breakfast in the morning, with that really good food, okay? But it's not really talked about with women, especially the issue of being lusted after and feeling objectified. Like, what does a woman do with that? She's a godly woman. She goes to the mall and she has someone objectify and look at her in a lustful way. And she has no template or teaching on what to do about that. Well, for 40 years, I've counseled men who are, I want to say, professional lusters. They struggle with sexual addiction. They struggle with pornography, and they get free. But these have been the souls I've worked with. And I've helped thousands of men get free from their addictions to pornography and other inappropriate behaviors. I've seen their marriages heal, but I've also seen the other side of the story. The women who have been lusted after, and how it feels to feel like an object or to feel slimed or dirty, and you didn't even do anything wrong. And I'm not talking about the woman who goes out like selling attention. I'm talking about the woman who's just out there, even with their kids, just going grocery shopping. Okay, she didn't do anything to provoke this behavior, but what has the church been helping her to do to understand it? Now, let me say very clearly to the women who are watching today, okay, and this is one of those shows you're going to want to share, okay? You are not responsible for another man's lust. You're just not. Now, you know when you're going out there and you're dressed inappropriately. Okay, you know what is inappropriate. Men are still responsible for how they respond to you. Okay, I feel sorry when I see someone sending out that kind of energy because I know she's hurt or broken. And my hope for the women watching this today is that you will never blame yourself for a man lusting after you. You'll never go in the car and go, ooh, what did I do to have that? Okay? I want you to have the tools and understanding to navigate this issue so that you can walk in freedom, so it doesn't slime you. It doesn't stick with you. It doesn't make you feel icky, okay? When you learn this, and you can actually start helping other women, and all women deal with being lusted after, okay? It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what your shape, size, or color is. You've all experienced this. Now, most people think lust is about their attractiveness, okay, or their body type, or what they're wearing. It has nothing to do with that, okay? Lust actually starts at the very beginning of humanity. Let's go back to the first sin of humanity, which was the sin of lust. Most people don't really get that. Like, it wasn't about the apple, it was about the lust of the apple. Let's read this. The woman said to the serpent, "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die." "You will not certainly die," the serpent said to the woman. I feel like I'm reading a little book to my grandchildren, right? "For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, this is where she lusted, and desirable for gaining wisdom, this is where she lusted, she took some and ate it. The lust preceded the eating. She also gave some of it to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Okay, so this was kind of a collaborative deal. I don't want to unpack all of that, but I want you to understand when she saw, lust is conceived in the heart of man and woman. It is not something the devil does. Okay, he may help you with ideas, but lust is something that we do. If you actually do a word study on lust, you're going to find that the Word of God does not give the responsibility of lust to the devil, but to us. She knew exactly what God said, okay, but she saw the fruit differently as she started to lust after it. Her own lust pulled her into that process, to be like God, to be equal with him, to have wisdom, to have something that she didn't have as if she didn't have enough. Okay, she was in paradise. This woman had everything. A perfect husband, right? Okay, because he didn't sin yet. A perfect God who walked with her. You know, more animals and pets than anyone's ever had since. Perfect food. Okay? Nothing was wrong in her life, but she lusted for more. And that is the core definition of lust. Thinking differently about a person or a thing than God does. Let me say that again. Lust is thinking differently about a person or a thing differently than the way God thinks. Lust is not just sexual. It applies to everything. Money, cars, houses, cell phones. You know, you need the next iPhone model because yours works just fine. And when you say that to your kids, it doesn't make them laugh, okay? They don't really understand they're lusting after a phone, okay? Our electronics, our more followers, our bigger ministry, our, you know, whatever, food. I mean, food lust, we all get that every once in a while, right? Okay. But the 10th commandment in Exodus 20:17, you shall not covet, which is lust or evil desires, your neighbor's house. You shall not covet or evilly desire your neighbor's wife. Okay, now let's stop there for a minute. Who is your neighbor? Everyone. Jesus clarified that. Everyone's your neighbor. So that's not just the ladies on your street. Okay, that's every lady you meet, all right? Or his male or female servants, that's employees, his ox or donkey, the way he gets things done, or anything that belongs to your neighbor, like their big screen TV or whatever, their theater room, or they got a third garage, or they got a four-wheeler, whatever, a boat. We're not allowed to lust after anything or anyone. Now, that's the 10th commandment. That's not like Haggai, you know, that's not like, you know, maybe something hidden in the Psalms or maybe Proverbs 6. That is the 10th commandment. This is something that God himself wrote down. This is one of just a very few times in history God took out his own pen. And he wrote 10 really good ideas, which he calls commandments. Because he expects to be obeyed because he really thinks he's God, okay? Lust is prohibited by God because it destroys everyone involved. It destroys the person lusting because it consumes the soul and leads to destructive behaviors. And it injures and causes pain to the person that is being lusted after.
For more content and resources to help in your healing journey with Christ, make sure to follow Dr. Doug Weiss on Facebook and Instagram. If you'd like to share full episodes of this show with friends and family, subscribe to Healing Time Ministries on YouTube, and feel free to leave us a comment on any of Dr. Doug's social media platforms. Our team would love to hear your feedback and learn how Healing Time is impacting your life, your church, and your ministry.